using this form next time when you guys get ready to start with the acrylic. It kind of gives you, it'll help you if you forget in what order you're supposed to do everything, because it says dip, wipe, drag, place, lift, pat, stroke, so it helps you. So I'm going to encourage you to start on this page, and then we'll move over to this one. Okay, this one has a lot more on it, a lot more nail practices on it. Right now, we're just gonna do one color, but when we get ready to do pink and whites, then we will go ahead and do number 1 would be your white, and then 2 and 3 would be your pink, so it would look like a natural nail. But today, and when you guys start practicing, all we're gonna be doing is trying to create those balls that we did before so that they stay within the lines of the paper. Okay, so what I mean is when you're looking at it, you're going to want to make sure that it stays right here within these lines. So you're going to be patting and flattening and moving with the brush. So the belly part of the brush is the middle part of the brush. Okay, and on here it kind of shows you too how you should be using your brush. So you shouldn't be using it like this because you're going to put little divots in it. You should be using it more on a 45 or a flatter angle. Okay, so we're going to back to where we're going to dip it a little bit. We're going to wipe the excess liquid in the liquid dapping dish, not in the powder dapping dish. And you can either make your circle, create a good ball of product on it. You're going to place it on the mat where it says number 1. Doesn't really matter because we're not doing the pink and whites. You're going to let it kind of set a little bit. And mine is like setting up nice. So I'm going to take the belly part of my brush and I'm going to start to flatten it. And I'm dragging it towards the free edge, wiping off my brush whenever it looks like it gets a lot of product on it. Because there's nothing worse than working with a brush that has a ton of product. So you're going to work this gently into the cuticle area. If you don't have enough, then you're going to take a smaller ball. That's why we practice the different size balls, so that we can use them to fill in the spots. Okay, so you're going to work this right down to the cuticle area, wiping off your brush just to make sure that you're not using a lot of extra product on your brush. Okay, and then when you get done with it and it's setting, this is why we needed the consistency, because if the consistency is not right, you're going to put this ball on here and it's going to flatten right out on the page. So that's why we had you practice all those times so that it sets up and it stays right within the lines and it's not running all over. If you had too much liquid, let me try to make this wrong, and you put it down and you clean off your brush, you can see how it's starting to flatten out already, which means it's too wet. It's kind of rolling all down the page. Okay, so that's why we had you practice so many times, so that you understand the consistency that you need to create this. So you're going to practice, like I said, on this form for a little bit so that you can understand the differences between, you know, how you move it around before we give you the dowels. Then we'll move to the dowels, and on the dowel itself, you will build your acrylic. That's when it's easier to see your arch and stuff like this. When you look at this on the side, they basically kind of look flat. Okay, so it's really hard to build that arch on paper. If you wanted to try to build the arch, then what you're going to do is you're going to do your balls, and then you're going to create one extra ball and you're going to lay that on top of it right in the center, flatten it, and then that's going to be where your arch is. And sometimes that's hard to do on the paper form.
Why
So
do you keep drying the brush?
I keep cleaning my brush off so that I don't have a lot of extra product on it, because when you have a lot of extra product on your brush, it makes your nails lumpy or bumpy. So you're going to want to make sure that you're wiping your brush to keep it clean. And the only time you're going to want to use the point part of your brush is when you're making your smile line or you're trying to get close to the edges. You know, and then you're going to kind of paint it across to kind of flatten it. But it's really hard to do an arch on something flat because you can't really, you know, you can see how it is. It's really hard to do it on something flat because really you'd be holding it like this, creating it more that way. Okay? Questions? Okay, so when we get ready to try the pink and white, we'll go back to this sheet. We'll use it a little differently, but this is really just to understand, once again, the consistency and keeping it within all your lines.
Do you want them to keep the white balls on there and build upon the pink next week?
No, because there's a different technique to do it. The white ball would be in the one area, and then creating a smile line is a different technique. So we'll go over how you do that with the tip part of your brush to make it so that it looks like a natural free edge. Good? Okay.
We done?